Okay, so believe it or not, this is take two, and not just ideas part two. Full disclosure, I did this once before, and I forgot to hit record on the screen recorder. But what we're talking about today is ideas. Again, I know we talked about it already, but now I'm going to kind of go through in depth of where I kind of come up with ideas myself, and then some of the places where I come up with ideas. Not always, but a good place to start if you just don't have any ideas. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is kind of just show you some images, is what I typically do. I just look at like cool images of things that I'm thinking of, where I might get some ideas from. So I like outer space, and I'll just typically look through and see images that I like. I think that one's kind of cool. It actually shows the reflection. You see a lot of movies where you'll see the face, and in reality, it's actually just a reflection because the sun is so bright that it'll burn your retina, so you can't be looking directly into it. That doesn't necessarily spark a whole lot of ideas. Actually, what I did like was this image right here, because it's kind of this silhouette-y planeteer thing. And it just kind of brings up, like, darkness, or night kind of thing. So I'll typically go into something else and look up darkness, and I'll look up some images. That's creepy. But like, here's one that I like a lot. An open doorway, guy going through it. So it's like he's in darkness, but there's always a door to the light. Which is funny because then it brings Kingdom Hearts right here. And if any of you played Kingdom Hearts, there's kind of a theme in there. But this is a very good image that I typically latch onto, something like that, or I'll go down the line and look at something like, here's a good image. The sun grabbing onto the moon. They're hugging each other. Can't have dark without light. Yin and yang. So that's some ideas that I'll bring up. And then what I'll do from there is I'll usually open a document and start writing down ideas. And you can see here that I've kind of ignore this for a second. But you can see here, I've second time around, I kind of wrote the ideas out, just from what the image is kind of telling me. So the doorway, right? This is bringing up open doorway. Through the darkness, there's always a light, right? Here's the light. The yin and yang is the moon, right? So where is it? Here it is. The moon and the sun. And so without light, there cannot be darkness, and vice versa. And so these ideas kind of brought up, some kind of just basically like, okay, what do I like in that genre? And usually I'll go and I'll listen to music as well. So I'll listen to music and see what that kind of brings me. But since we're just looking at images, I was thinking about, like, okay, some of my favorite genres are dramas and romance. But when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about like a crime thriller, you know, and I'm thinking about like how that might have to do with these sort of themes, or these sort of ideas that I'm thinking of. The yin and yang, without light there can't be darkness, or these things, and it kind of makes me think about like movies that might be very similar. So I'll look up, when I think about like a crime thriller, I think about Zodiac. And why is Zodiac important? It's because it's about a serial killer who's taunting the cops with these letters. And so I think it's a good place to start from people's work and figure out how that might be influence your kind of stuff. So going backwards, right? Where did Quentin Tarantino get his idea from Reservoir Dogs? Well, most people know that it came from City on Fire. This is a movie made in 1987. Obviously a crime thriller, and it's about robbers, and there's an informant, and it says even down here, Quentin Tarantino, blah, 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 the most famous Mexican standoff. And so he looked at the film and said, like, could I do a movie just based on this third act? And, you know, Reservoir Dogs is basically about a group of guys who are in the aftermath of their robbery, and they're trying to find out who is the police informant. So, again, when a simple jewelry heist goes horribly wrong, the surviving criminals begin to suspect that one of them is a police informant. So it's based on that one idea with City on Fire of just showing the third act. And then he made an idea come to life in the form of a concept, and he wrote the script in 3 weeks, I believe he said. And that's the same thing with this sort of thing. So I look at this and I think, like, okay, well, this is a cat and mouse game between the police and this serial killer. Well, how can I flip the script on that and make mine a little bit more unique in that way? Well, what if my crime thriller is playing a cat and mouse game, right? Between a serial killer and another serial killer. Kind of like spy versus spy, right? And so from there, then you can write your log line, you know. And I'm not going to get into that right now. That's a whole nother thing, because I'm not actually going to write this script, and I'm not the greatest at coming up with log lines. I mean, if I were to, it'd probably be like, cops try to find a serial murderer, cat, mouse. Yeah, this is terrible. I'm not going to use this. So I'm not the best with coming up with log lines, but you kind of get the idea. Once you have the cat and mouse crime thriller genre, serial killer versus serial killer, then it becomes very easy to come up with that kind of story and like figure out the elements in there, and then have a full-fleshed concept. And then from there, you know, you get into maybe outlining or writing, depending on your kind of style. But anyways, let me know what you guys want to see. If you want to see more on this development process of ideas and concepts. If you like this video, give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. It helps the channel out a lot. Thank you for watching.